mistakes now, 'cause I don't wanna stay, wanna live my own life, wanna feel passion for something or someone that makes my world turn upside down, wanna give it up for something or someone that's better than this. So don't be too offended, I had to leave, there's nothing in for me, no, I'm not fitting in, I packed my things to go, am I being naive? But it's my choice to make, it's my new rebellious way. Choice to make, it's my new rebellious way.
Hello everyone, happy Thursday. Oh, a lot to get through. And I actually have dinner this evening. This podcast is meant to be at like 3 in the afternoon, and I went shopping and lost complete and utter track of time. Like, wow. And there's actually a lot to get through. So we're gonna speed through it today. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I'm so sorry if this clashes with anybody else's podcast, but that was like I was not meant to be on at this time. I'm very sorry. Maybe one day this will be my full-time job, and I can show up on time every single day. But until then, please bear with me. Thank you so much, everyone, for being patient. Okay. Okay. Somebody said in the chat, I think, are you looking for guests to come on? Yes, I am still looking for people to come on the show and have a chat. So what I'll do is I will put my email in the Google. Sorry, not in the Google, in the chat box. My Google Gmail in the chat box, I meant to say. And you can email me if you want to come on the show, okay? There. Yeah, there's a lot to get through today. Do you know, sometimes I wonder, am I going to have enough material for a live stream every single day? And somehow the royals and the other forces that be around them never fail to mess up. So there is literally something to talk about every single day. Can you believe that, guys and dolls? Like, oh, I would actually just like for 1 week when nothing happens. Jeez. All right, there's almost 300 plus of you in the chat, so I'm going to assume all the usuals and some newbies are here, and let's just get straight to it. So I'll start with some positive stuff first. Shout out to the squaddy here. I thought who looked absolutely fabulous. She got herself a new Meghan hat. Yeah, that's what we're calling it now. We're calling it the Meghan hat, and she tried to recreate some photos. I love to see squaddies recreating styles. So shout out to Beth. Thank you for sharing your picture on Sussex Squad hashtag. And also, we learned a little bit more about the Los Padres polo team that Harry is going to be playing on. Nacho did an interview and he said, we named the team like that due to Los Padres National Park that surrounds the area. But it's also a reference to the connection we both have today in life as parents. Besides Prince Harry and yourself, the interviewer asked, what can you tell us about the team? And Nacho said the other two players are Kiko and Juan. They're both two very good young players. They are only 16. Can you believe those two guys in the middle are 16? That is pretty impressive. I mean, I don't know how long it takes for you to get polo skills, but to be that good and playing against Prince Harry and Nacho at 16, like, good on you. He says they both played very well, and I feel very proud and happy for them. This is just the beginning, and we need to keep ourselves focused and working hard to keep the results coming. I don't know what I'm more impressed by, that these two young lads are playing so well at the age of 16, or that Harry and Nacho can keep up with two 16-year-olds. Like, wow. So he was also asked, how will your season continue? And he says, I will play here until June and then go to Aspen from July to August, where I've already been playing with other families the last couple of seasons. Aspen is a really nice place to play, and polo over there is very entertaining. Okay, so the June dates, I have to point out, are for the polo matches are June 3rd to 6th or something like that. So there is still, I think, the minor chance that Harry could still make his way there. Maybe. Who knows? Or actually, no. Would there be? Yeah, because I mean, he'd have to fly very, very quickly. But you just never know. I'm hoping that it's just an absolute no for the Jubilee. I'm really, really hoping it's an absolute no. Let's check your comments. Wow, coming hard and fast for the comments. SH, what did police accuse Meghan of? We're going to get to that. I promise we will. Promise we'll get there. Usually these guys start learning very young to play polo. Nacho went pro at 17. Oh wow, okay. I feel like I have to learn more about the sports now. I'm gonna start learning more about polo. Church Nelly or tipsy? Already? What time is it where you are, Church Nelly? Miss P talks, no, he won't attend. The Queen won't be there anyway. Well, it's looking like she might not be there. It'll be the most anticlimactic Jubilee ever. And like this very funny tweet said, can you believe it, Charles? They paid 365 million to refurbish Buckingham Palace. Now I'm selling them tickets to see what they paid for. Like literally, that is what it is. And like Glow from Sussex Royal Glow said, I regret that as I get wiser and more informed, I'm realizing it's all a bit of a scam. The biggest ever pulled off. The recent tours, the attitude and around new family members has been very revealing. I understand why the royals fight for survival. It's a sweet deal on their part, indeed. They do nothing and get paid for it. Thank you for Super Sticker, Elaine Parker. Happy Thursday to you. Miss P talks. The Queen is not even attending her own garden party. Why would she be at the Jubilee? The woman is still missing her husband. Well, I think they will fight to get her on that balcony. And now that Harry and Meghan aren't, there's a good chance that Harry and Meghan aren't coming. They need that. They need anything they can to get the clicks and the photo sells up. So if the press wants to make any money, she has to show up. Yeah, Elisa, without QE2, what is next? Judy, suddenly I am also a polo fan. Okay, so next, Piers Morgan. As you know, the rule on my channel is we do not talk about Piers Morgan unless to make fun of him. And today we're making fun of the fact that his ratings continue to dive. Flagship show audience down 80% after the launch, and ratings agency detects 0 viewers for other key slots on Talk TV. So part of the article says, this is actually a really good article in general, so definitely go and read it. But it says, in part, despite an enormous advertising campaign, Talk TV is being consistently beaten in the ratings by fellow upstart television network GB News. But GB News, mind you, is also struggling a bit. The channel also initially mocked for its pitifully low viewing figures before gradually rebuilding its audience by promoting Nigel Farage and a full-blooded culture war discussion. And that is literally the only reason why these channels get any views. They don't really offer anything of any substance. They just prey on a certain audience that likes to just watch the culture war drama. So it says the Talk TV ratings are a challenge for the News UK chief Rebecca Brooks, who, if you didn't know, was Murdoch's right-hand man, and herself, Murdoch, and Moron were all implicated in the phone hacking scandal. So Rebecca Brooks, who is in need of a hit after sinking tens of millions of pounds into the project, she had publicly dismissed the business case for a new broadcast television network News as not commercially viable before reversing course after Murdoch signed up Morgan on a reported £50 million 3-year deal. For 50 million, he should be getting a lot more ratings than he's getting now. Like, I know like teenage podcasters younger than me, 16, 17-year-olds, podcasters, TikTokers, Instagrammers who get more views than what Piers Morgan does. Anyway, it continues. The audience for the Talk TV's nightly discussion program hosted by Sharon Osbourne also dipped as low as 10,000 viewers. Osbourne only hosted 3 nights of the program before announcing she was flying home to Los Angeles to be with her ill husband, Ozzy. She has since appeared on her own show via video link with Jeremy Kyle, drafted in to help with the presenting duties. Not the Jeremy Kyle. Oh, what a low. It goes on to say the audience for Morgan's flagship 8 p.m. evening show also collapsed from an average over 300,000 viewers on its launch night to 62,000 viewers a week later, a fall of 80%. Morgan, who tweeted gleefully about his first night television ratings, now insists he does not care about such figures. Really? Because we know if those figures had been in the millions, he would be gloating. He told his social media followers that television ratings should be ignored. Linear TV increasingly irrelevant to total eyeball potential for a global show like this, especially with younger viewers who don't really watch TV anymore. And he also tweeted, being lectured by The Guardian about popularity is like being called talentless by Kim Kardashian. Worry about your own. I love how he says that, like himself and Kim Kardashian aren't like in the same trash pile. Worry about your own crumbling selves, dwindling finances, and increasing irrelevance, you ludicrous bunch of kale munching, Sandal-clad, wokey whiny wastrels. I am actually going to make a t-shirt that says "Kale munching, sandal-clad, wokey whining wastrels." Please, everybody, screen print that tweet and save it for when his Talk TV show gets cancelled. And I think that there are several reasons why Piers Morgan is struggling. I think there is the competition with online media, and yes, less and less people are watching TV, but you'd think perhaps his audience would be more likely to watch because you can get news so easily online now. I also do think, and I tweeted about this, where I think Morgan lost a lot of his audience. And this tweet about Mr. C that he put out some time ago, he said, "I love the idea of Mr. C vaccine passports for everywhere, flights, restaurants, clubs, football gyms, shops. It's time Mr. C denying anti-vax loonies and their BS called and barred themselves from going anywhere that responsible citizens go." Now, like I said in my tweet, people on both sides of the political aisle had very varied opinions about COVID mandates, but overwhelmingly, it was people who were more politically aligned to the right who were against any type of mandates. So by putting this tweet out there, he was basically going against his core audience who felt very, very strongly about this. So in a way, he kind of cancelled himself from his own audience. And also just the fact that what really does Morgan have to offer at this point? The first 4 nights, I believe, of his show, he mentioned Meghan, and even that didn't help. He also mentioned her again regarding the cancellation of Pearl. I mean, pretty much the whole animation division of Pearl got cancelled. And why is Meghan's Pearl getting cancelled the most relevant thing that you have to talk about? That's all he has to talk about for his show. So it's no surprise isolating his own audience and going against their personal views, having nothing to talk about, and just continuously bashing Meghan, bashing other women, and relying on just typical right-wing talking points that are just getting boring and overdone. It's just part of the course that he's just going to fail, and those ratings are going to get lower and lower and lower because he just has nothing to offer. This is a man who was literally given who was it? I forget his name. Sorry, Larry King. This was a man who was given Larry King's career on a silver plate, and he still couldn't make it work. So why on earth would you give him £50 million? £50 million over 3 years for a show that he has to carry himself. Way overpaid. Anyway, to your comments. Now, Rahini, I feel like the hater YouTube channels are providing too much competition for Piers Morgan. Yes, indeed. And the whole right-wing side of the news, they had their own competition between themselves, and Moron has to compete with them. He has to compete with people like Ben Shapiro and people like Candace Owens, who I think are appealing to a much broader base, particularly younger right-wing individuals. So he has to compete in his own on his own side of the aisle as well. And I think he's also losing the competition because other people are taking pieces of the pie. So he's well past his sell-by date, even with his own side of the aisle. Yeah, maybe if Morgan talked about anything other than Meghan, he'd do better. He's just seen as a one-trick pony. Indeed. Amy, I saw a clip and all it contains are has-beens and washed-out Z-listers from the 90s TV. All of that tantrum throwing and storming off of, Good Morning TV, what is that accounted for now? Piers Morgan, don't worry about the Kardashians. They are number 1 on the streaming platform, Hulu. Got a better artist than you, loser. Yeah. I mean, I don't like the Kardashians, but they're definitely more popular than Piers Morgan, for sure. So he should just keep Kim's name out of his mouth because the Kardashians are still doing better than you, sir. Now, Amy, there are way too much right-wing TV shows. It's boring and repetitive. Yeah, talk about the same things over and over again. Sharon, Piers Morgan, can I go a day without? He brings up Meghan and Harry. Coming is becoming like kryptonite for him. Well, it's failing now. Okay, so that's that. Oh, he he had tweeted at this lady, and sorry, no, I think she had tweeted him, and then he came back with again usual just right wing talking point. Let me change the subject to a sticky topic, and he says, "By the way, what's a woman?" And she responded by saying, "Someone whose rejection could get you to storm off the set of your own TV show." And somebody else tweeted, "Oh, this is a woman too. Here, Ghislaine Maxwell." And I agree with Mike Wright here, saying Piers Morgan has been cancelled by the woke forces of general indifference. And I think that's how most people are feeling right now. They are either bored of him or just feel indifferent. And the shock value um, is just not there anymore. Yeah, that's true, SS. The Kardashians don't make money by trashing others, at least. They just make money by making women feel insecure about their bodies and buying detox lollipops. But they don't trash others still. That's a good point. Joseph, as a last resort, when your ratings or clicks need a boost, try playing the Meghan card. Uh, well, somebody made a very good point about why else this could be happening. And Dr. Fren Riddle said, I know everyone's laughing about Piss Morons viewing snowballing towards the negative, but doesn't it kind of make you stop and think about all of those prior primetime producers who claimed his bile brought in viewers? How many times did Good Morning Britain defend him on exactly those grounds? And that goes for every bigoted, misogynistic, or racist talking head currently platformed by the BBC, newspapers, and radio. It's the systems that keep these people on our screens, in our papers, and in our ears. It's the news producers and editors and commissioners and channel bosses and newspaper owners. They are the ones responsible for the culture wars, for spreading hate and division. Piss Moron's failure to launch is going to be an extremely nasty shock to those realizing that their views are not the majority. Things are going to get even worse, even more ramped up, while they try and sway more people towards a closed minded, bigoted mob mentality. Perhaps the disconnect will become so big they will be forced to dial it back. Who knows? But what we need more than ever is a diverse media with an independent accountability body. We need more publishers, zines, more podcasts, more creators, more stuff reaching as many people as possible. And guys and dolls, I always say to you, if you want to start your own podcast, your own platform, do it. Especially within this space, trying to push back against the propaganda by the British press and the royals against Meghan and Harry. For me, in this space, it's not a competition; it's a team sport. So, if it's something that you've been thinking about, stop thinking and start doing. Start the podcast, start the Instagram. I didn't actually start with a podcast. I started with an Instagram. Donna Black, I can't wait for Meghan to write her book. I'm sure she's writing it as we speak, or probably started writing it some time ago. But I think there will be a time and place for Meghan's book. I don't think it's anytime soon. Okay, on to the next thing, and that is oh yes, Kate Middleton's can't seem to find the right slide. Sorry, folks. But yeah, it's Kate Middleton and the confusion, so-called confusion, with her name, sorry, with Meghan's name being on a police report instead of Kate's. So essentially, what happened was that Kate went to a vigil that was being held by a young woman called Sarah, who had been murdered by a police officer. She did this during lockdown. So technically speaking, it was against the rules. There were protests there, and one of those protesters was actually quite violently handled and arrested by the police. Kate went there, was not handled at all. She went there maskless just to make sure that we could get pictures of her going to this vigil, using this dead woman's vigil as an opportunity to get PR photographs. And the fact that Catherine and the royal institution in general has never come out and openly really said anything regarding women's advancements, women's rights, said anything regarding corruption within the Met Police, because what happened to Sarah was partly a failure of the culture within the Met Police. And then to come to this dead woman's vigil just for PR photos. And at the time, the police commissioner, Cressida Dick, said that Kate's presence at Sarah's vigil was legal because she was, quote unquote, working. What work is this? You show up just to get photos of you there for PR clout. And Cressida Dick also said that while the gathering for Sarah was judged unlawful, that Kate's presence was acceptable. I can promise you that nobody would have cared. Nobody would have cared if Kate had not shown up. Because I don't want a woman like her there, a woman who has never done or really said anything for other women. Never did anything while her pregnant sister-in-law was being bullied by the press because of a lie. Because of the lie that Meghan made Kate cry. At no point did she correct that. She let her sister-in-law be bullied. But you're going to show up to a dead woman's funeral for PR clout. Yeah. So essentially, there was a freedom of information request, and on the police reports, it was found that Meghan's title, the Duchess of Sussex, was used instead of Kate's title, the Duchess of Cambridge. And they're saying that it was a mistake. The report said that the Duchess of Sussex attended the bandstand at approximately 17:15, as in the report. But it was Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, who attended the vigil that afternoon. A Kensington spokesperson later said she attended to pay her respects to Everard and her family. Well, Meghan was pregnant in California at the time, so there's no way that she could have been there. And as someone pointed out on Twitter, that's funny because Wayne Couzes and his colleagues, ex-officers from the Parliamentary and Diplomatic Protection Command, certainly knew the difference when they were exchanging racist messages and images in their WhatsApp group chat. And some of those racist messages and images were of Meghan and Harry using racist language. And I don't know how the haters can wiggle their way out of this one. And I guess this is also a time to remember that Cressida, the police commissioner, the head police commissioner, was given a dameship by Charles despite her numerous failures. So if anybody's wondering why there is just so much corruption at the top level, how do you trust when you see pictures like this that that powerful and privileged people will be held accountable. How do you trust? Very difficult to. Okay. Mina, Megan's writing a book too. Not well, it hasn't been announced, but I mean, come on, I think it's a pretty obvious guess that she would be writing a book. Not that it's going to come out anytime soon. I don't think it will, but sometime in our lifetime, Megan will release a book for sure. Cookies and Cream, the Unroyal family was hoping punk moron would use his show to smear Meghan. They're trying to incite hatred against Meghan and lessen her popularity in the US, and it's not working. Definitely not working. Claudia, Meghan writes in her journal every day, so she has a lot. We would all be interested in reading that book. Yeah. I'd be interested in reading a book about her experience within the firm, a lot of the things that we didn't hear in the Oprah interview. I'd be interested in reading poetry by Meghan, like more adult poetry by Meghan. I'd be interested in reading self-help by Meghan, like anything. Style by Meghan. Yeah, Sherry Wave. That was an accident. That wasn't an accident. That was deliberate to put Meg's name instead of the lawbreaker Kate. Yeah. It definitely was not a mistake. I don't know why they thought they could get away with it. Because surely this is grounds for Meghan's legal team to sue. Cho, the victims wasn't even mentioned, but she leaks her own letter sent to the family's victims. Yeah, I remember this. I do remember this, that apparently she had sent a letter and then it leaked that she had sent a letter. And I can't imagine that the family would have leaked the press. It must have been her. So she was just using them. Miss P taught society has become numb to lies, deceit, and stealing and everything that's bad, unfortunately. Because there's just so much noise, to be honest with you. So much noise. Sometimes you have to learn to block it out. Jonah Black, I just wonder if the Met Police would have detained Meghan had they known she was in the UK a couple of weeks ago. Detained her for what? I don't know. I don't know if they would have detained her. I don't even think that they wanted this to come out because this was over a year ago. But someone did that freedom of information request and it came out. Margaret, Harry should never trust the Met Police for security. They are too ingrained in the royal family dirty deeds. Don't go back. Yeah, even if he was to pay for security, like how could he trust that he would be safe or Meghan would be safe or the kids would be safe? There's no way he could trust that they'd be safe. Rahini, it was definitely an attempt at revisionist history. No, I don't believe that the Met have apologized yet. Not yet, at least. And I guess this is why Catherine can never put a foot wrong because all of her dirty steps are cleaned up. Yes, Joseph, Meghan has enough receipts for 3 tell-all books. Indeed. Okay, so moving on, sticking to Catherine, would anybody like to be Catherine's assistant? Over 27 $6,500 a year. That's what Catherine's going to pay you to be her personal assistant. And some very clever person did some salary searches, and they found that for only £50 less, you can work at a McDonald's as a manager. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather flip burgers than be the assistant for someone who's known to make people cry. I mean, this just makes them look so stingy. That's a whole Kate Middleton outfit in a job salary right there. It is truly disgraceful. I mean, that job is poison. And apparently, you've got to be a fan of hers. You've got to be a mega Kate fan. So, the Rangers, sign up, please. Actually, I would love for a squaddy to get the job, and then they could leak to me. Yeah, Terry, being minimum wage to be her assistant. When after 10 years, she's barely just figuring out how to do this job herself. Lisa, not enough money in the world, and I'm too black. Yeah, you'll have William asking about your skin color. That and having to put up with Kate and bad pay. No, thank you. So yeah, that is that. And so there was also a letter that was actually I'll get this up first. So this is coming out of Kenya. Do the right thing. Kenyans petition Prince William over land evictions. So, FYI, this is a story by Richard Palmer, and I want you to just listen to the tone of what he says in his subheading. First, it was slavery. Now the Duke of Cambridge has been asked to help 1,000 over 100,000 Kenyans seeking an apology and reparations from Britain for human abuses and land theft. You know, it's just that, like, oh, we're so tired of hearing about it. First, it was slavery. He is the future king. There's no reason why we shouldn't ask him about these issues. And if he cannot respond to these issues diplomatically, then he shouldn't be the future king. And this is the letter in question. I will read it out. The letter says, Dear Prince William, recognition of colonial crimes in Kericho, Kenya. We are writing to you at a time when you are eagerly preparing for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Or it says Jubilee in the letter, but I'm just saying Jubilee. Kenya clearly is a special place for you and your family. You proposed to your wife there. Oh yes, he proposed to Catherine apparently in the resort that his ex-girlfriend's family owns. And I couldn't find it in time for the podcast, but there was an article I read some time ago about Jessa Craig's family and their dealings in Kenya. But I'm going to save that for the next podcast because I think it's worth revisiting. They have quite a hold over quite a large part of land in Kenya. And that needs looking at also. But the letter continues. And when your grandmother became queen, she was visiting Kenya, which at the time was one of the colonies, on a royal tour. It is most telling, however, that at the same time in Kericho country, only a few hundred kilometers from where the Queen was staying, our families and ancestors were being violently pushed off the land where we had always lived on. It was the British colonial forces that did this so that tea could be planted on the very fertile ground where we were born. So they moved these people basically so they could profit off of planting tea. We are turning to you now, 70 years later, as a group of over 100,000 victims from Kericho whose suffering as a result of this period has been entirely ignored by your family and successive British governments. We are urging you at this historic time to stand on the side of justice and to recognise the grave violations we have endured for decades. Our people were violently evicted from their homes to make space for the very lucrative tea plantations that still exist today. Many men and women were raped, detained, and in some cases killed whilst trying to resist the evictions. All were displaced and humiliated, and none have been compensated. The trauma of having our ancestral land stolen from us and the degradation to which we were subjected affected not only those of us directly removed from the land, but also all our family members for generations to come. The pain of our colonial past has been inherited in many forms, and it is exacerbated by the ongoing economic hardships of losing such precious land to profit-hungry corporations. But this is also your colonial past, and where we inherited the pain, you inherited the profit. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And I think that just speaks for the entire royal institution, that they are still very much profiting from these people's pain. Goes on to say, despite our immense suffering under British rule, the British government has refused to acknowledge this fact or meet any of us, let alone apologise, which is why we are now appealing to you. In September 2019, our British and Kenyan legal representatives submitted an official complaint to the UN Special Rapporteur of the Promotion of Truth, Justice, Reparation and Guarantees of Non-Recurrence. After investigating the complaint and hearing from the many victims directly, the UN sent their reports and recommendations to the UK government. It confirms the responsibility of the British government to remedy the extensive crimes inflicted on our people by way of full public apology and appropriate reparations. Yet still, there has been no response from the British government. We are deeply disappointed. The government has merely stated that it has already expressed regret in relation to certain victims of the uprising in Kenya, and it would not enter into any process with the Kericho victims. We are clearly different victims whose land was forcibly taken away. The provision of reparations to one discrete group of victims plainly does not address our grievances as a separate and distinct group of victims. We do not want this to become a bitter dispute. We just want the wrongs committed against us to be recognized. An apology and discussion about reparations would be the start to achieve justice. Many of our group are elderly, so the urgency of this is paramount. We cannot let another victim of this time pass away, still longing for their dignity to be restored. As you prepare to celebrate your grandmother's platinum jubilee, our own elderly family members remember the pain of having their homes and land taken away from them at the same time. We have very little to celebrate. We are asking that you therefore do the right thing and support our quest for justice by making a public statement of recognition of what we suffered, as well as an apology and an arrangement for appropriate reparations. It will be in all our best interest to move forward in this way to a worthy and prosperous future together. We thank you for your consideration of our appeal. We look forward to finally closing the painful chapter of history and starting afresh with mutual respect, grace, and dignity. We await your response sincerely. And wow. Whew, what a powerful letter, and beautifully written and great points. Yeah, I don't believe that there will be much of a response, but it's out there. And if anything, I just hope that people make enough noise on social. Yeah, Terry H, she's going to pay minimum wage to her assistant. How crazy is that? Aliva, what an insult to offer 27k to work for her, and to add insult insult to the insult, they must be her fan. I don't want to pay 30k a year. Wilson, hopefully the new hire is qualified and objective. Wishful thinking, I guess. Do you know what? They've put that ad out, and I bet you the person who gets hired is going to be a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend who knows someone who works in the palace. It's like one of Meghan's former assistants or someone who worked on the team, like was known to like a rich friend of that Aristo's circle. I think she went to work as like a nanny for some rich couple afterwards. But it's almost as if they just like put the jobs out there to make themselves look like, oh, they're being fair and but when it comes to that close inner circle of hires, they pick from within the circles. Yes, Amy, that is a perfect way to say it. Kate and Will's Caribbean tour has opened a post-colonial Pandora's box, and there's nothing that they can do to close it now. I mean, this is like what the third or fourth very strongly written letter like this. Yes, Marcia, that is a very good point. What happened to her old assistant? Did she quit? There has been a very high turnover in the Kensington Palace house. HP talks. The Kenyans have seen the Caribbean tours. Good for Kenya to write. Yes, they need to write the Queen and Charles too about this injustice. Yep. Okay, so that was that very powerful letter. Something very kind of following on from that, talking about injustice and this that Anne Boleyn posted that very much disturbed me. Um, Someone selling an antique child runaway slave shackle on eBay, and like for me, this is not something that should be being sold on eBay. This should be either in some museum archive or just destroyed. So I have no idea what rules there are about this, because to me, like this shouldn't even be allowed to be sold on eBay. It really, really rubbed me the wrong way, and I hope that eBay can get a hold of this, because I wonder if this is like a thing. Like, are there quite a few items like this that are sold, and how did this particular individual get a hold of this? Um, Ruth, colonialism, a global endeavor, is now catching up to them. Reparations needed everywhere. West Indies, Africa, East Asia, Australia. Yeah. And I think what they're going to try and do is, instead of just trying to come to a fair agreement, I think what they're going to try and do is turn this into a culture war, um, to get people angry. So yeah, and I'll just end with they're still continuing. I'll end on a slightly more positive note. They're still continuing with the propaganda about Meghan hated the Australian tour. Meghan was bored on the tour. And as someone tweeted, I wonder what triggered them the most about that tour: her culinary skills, her elegance, her joy, her oratory skills, or maybe the fact that she was obviously well prepared. It's been 4 years and her success is still hurting them. And indeed, everywhere they went, there were crowds. When I look at these pictures, it makes me sad that I wasn't following Harry and Meghan at the time. It wasn't until some time after that I kind of jumped on the Sussex train, because this was truly an amazing tour. And these type of crowds, I mean, I haven't seen this for Kate and William in some time. In the early days, just after they got married, the crowds were there. But since then, the crowds just seem to get thinner and thinner and thinner, um, to the point where William goes to Dubai, and the only crowd for him is one single tree in the middle of the Dubai desert. So, they are still very miffed about that tour. There are rumors that they could be planning another Australian, New Zealand, some kind of Oceania tour, and that they may take the kids. I really hope that they don't do that. Number one, because the kids don't need to be used as PR ponies and dragged out like that. Number two, um, if it ends up being a disaster, it's gonna be like the like another nail in the coffin. And there's no way that they can replicate this level of excitement, because this, what we're seeing on the screen right now, this was organic. So yes, that's pretty much all I had to say for today. I am so late for dinner. But I really wanted to do the show before I went out. And thank you so much all for being patient with me and being here as always. And thank you everyone for the super stickers. Much appreciated. Oh, thank you so much, Lydia. I do try my best. Rahini, this is what I can't take with these idiots. Think how much better the Jubilee would be. Uh, what do you mean? If how better the Jubilee would have been if Harry and Meghan were there? Sorry, I didn't quite get your comment. Dolores, millions of us watched the Australia tour. I know how it turned out. It was a huge success. And Meghan was graceful, charming, smiling, happy throughout the whole thing. So what are they talking about? She hated the tour. Does this look like someone who's hating her life? It was probably a huge sigh of relief for her to get out of those palace walls, which are more like cages. Wilson, is it the family or the firm that is hiring? Oh, it's for the firm. I think it's for the firm. It's not like they're hiring a nanny or something like that. Robert, is it true that the Commonwealth countries pay 5% tax? I will have to look into that because I honestly don't know. If anybody else knows the answer to that question, please respond in the chat. Yes, R.R. Carter, a very powerful letter. They mean business. And they are probably ready for plan B when there is no response. That's a good point as well. I hope they are. Marsha, I followed the whole tour and Harry and Meghan were vastly loved. Well, the pictures speak for themselves, really. I mean, what about this looked fake? The people showed up and they loved it. Look at that, a sea of phones. Yeah, she was in her early day of pregnancies and she still did a good job. And these tours take a whole lot out of you. And she still did a fantastic job. Yes, Meghan made banana bread. We know that she's a good baker. Cookies and cream, there's a lot of Australian people that want to abolish the monarchy. I hope they come out in full protest against the cabbages. This will serve them right. The world is watching. Well, Australia had the original Brexit where they almost voted out the Queen, and it was by a very small margin. I think it was 1 or 2%. Thank you so much, Miss P and Elaine. Thank you, everyone. Yes, you can. If you don't want to stay for the comment and Baron is on, please go over to Baron. Yes, Swanee. She loves it there. She was truly beaming the whole trip. Media is just trying a new tack to get people right up for the Jubilee. Indeed. And it's not working because they still don't care. Cat Harlem, on a separate note, I received my cookies from Cookie Crumb. Oh, lovely. Placed order this past Sunday. They are nice size and individually wrapped. Thank you so much for supporting her, Cat Harlem. Thank you. Yes, please do go support Cookie Crumb Cookies. You got a party coming up, or you just feel like you got a craving, small female-owned business, please support her. Thank you, Kat Harlem, and thank you for the super sticker. Yeah, Amy, I still can't get over the millions being spent on that tour either. Yeah, the Australian tour was going so well, they started the rumor that Meghan made Kate cry. Elisa, no other tour came close. Well, yeah, the only other tour that came close was the last time someone as magical as Meghan had gone to Australia, and that was Diana. That was the last time you had that much fanfare on an Oceania tour. Okay, that is pretty much all. I'll give someone the last word of the day. Marsha, are you doing another podcast today? No, I'm not, sweetheart. Just this one. I had to do it a bit early because I'm going out for dinner and I have to go do my hair and makeup right now. So, Kelly, I'll give you the last word. Respect to all the squads. Thank you all so much for coming, everyone. And I guess I will see you tomorrow. Love you all. Bye-bye.